The crystalline dome of the Galactic Council chamber reflected 1,000 stars. Beneath it, representatives from 50 alien species sat in their designated sections. Some had tentacles. Others had wings. A few existed as clouds of gas contained in special suits. They all looked worried. Admiral Daewon walked through the entrance doors. His military uniform was simple and dark. His face showed no emotion. Behind him, Commander Bora carried a datapad. Her expression was equally blank. The other species watched them enter. Some whispered. Others made sounds their translators couldn't capture. Council Speaker Thexval rose from his seat. He was tall, nearly 3 meters. His insect-like body was covered in blue and green scales. 4 eyes blinked in sequence. His voice came through the translation system as smooth and calm. Admiral Daewon, we welcome you. Please take your seat. We have much to discuss. Daewon nodded and sat in the human section. Bora stood behind him, hands behind her back. The chamber grew quiet. Thexval activated a holographic display. Stars and planets appeared in the air above them. Red markers showed battle sites. Blue lines traced supply routes. Everything pointed to the same conclusion. The war between humanity and the Velcros Empire has lasted 3 years, Thexval began. 12 star systems have seen combat. Millions have died on both sides. The Council has analyzed the situation carefully. We have run projections. We have consulted our best military minds. The result is always the same. The hologram changed. Numbers appeared. Fleet strengths. Resource counts. Technology levels. Every comparison favored the Velcros. The Velcros have 8,000 warships. Humanity has 400. The Velcros control vital supply routes. Humanity's resources are stretched thin. The Velcros have weapons that can crack planets. Humanity's defenses cannot withstand sustained assault. By every metric, by every simulation, the outcome is clear. Humanity cannot win this war. A representative from the Hexian Collective spoke up. Her voice was gentle but sad. We do not wish to see humanity destroyed. Your species has shown courage. But courage alone cannot defeat superior numbers. We ask you to consider surrender. The Council can negotiate honorable terms. Another alien, this one from the Tyros Union, added his thoughts. The Velcros are willing to discuss peace. They will allow human colonies to remain independent. Your people will not become slaves. This is more generous than most defeated species receive. Across the chamber in the Velcros section, War Prime Kulthrax sat with his commanders. His species looked like massive bears covered in metal plates. His teeth were visible as he smiled. The expression was not friendly. The humans should be grateful, Kulthrax said. His voice rumbled like thunder. We offer mercy. We could crush them completely. Instead, we allow them to keep their pride. They should accept while the offer stands. Thexval turned to Daewon. Admiral, we understand this is difficult. No species wishes to admit defeat. But the mathematics are undeniable. Within 6 months, possibly less, the Velcros will have complete military superiority. Your fleet will be destroyed. Your colonies will be vulnerable. We ask you to think of your people. To save lives by ending this war now. The chamber waited. Every alien eye, in whatever form they possessed, focused on the human admiral. Daewon sat motionless for a long moment. Then he stood. His movement was slow and deliberate. He looked at Thexval, then at Kulthrax, then he swept his gaze across the entire council. Council Speaker, members of this assembly, I thank you for your concern, Daewon said. His voice was quiet but clear. Your projections are impressive. Your analysis is thorough. I appreciate the time and effort you have invested in studying our situation. He paused. A slight smile appeared on his face. It was barely noticeable, but it was there. However, I must respectfully inform you that your conclusions are incorrect. Humanity does not plan to lose this war. We will not surrender, and your 6-month timeline is far too generous to the Velcros. The chamber erupted. Aliens spoke over each other. Some expressed shock. Others showed anger. A few seemed impressed by human stubbornness, even if they thought it was foolish. Kulthrax laughed. The sound was harsh and loud. The human makes jokes. How amusing. Perhaps their species values comedy over survival. Very well, Admiral. Keep your pride. It will make poor armor when our weapons burn through your ships. Thexval raised his hands, calling for order. Admiral Daewon, we respect your loyalty to your species. But surely you understand the reality of your position. Is there nothing that will change your mind? Nothing at all, Daewon replied. He nodded to Bora. She touched her datapad once. A single message was sent, encrypted, immediate, brief. Then this council can do nothing more, Thexaval said sadly. We will pray for your people, Admiral. We hope you survive what is coming. Daewon bowed slightly. Your prayers are appreciated, Council Speaker, but unnecessary. Good day to you all. He turned and walked toward the exit. Bora followed. As they passed through the doors, Daewon's smile grew wider. Bora allowed herself the smallest nod. The message had been sent. The trap was set. The Velcros would learn soon enough that humans did not fight wars the way other species expected. 6 months earlier, Research Station Harmony floated hidden among the asteroids of Kepler 442. From the outside, it looked like an old mining facility. Inside, it was something completely different. The most brilliant scientists humanity had ever gathered worked here in absolute secrecy. Dr. Ha-Jun stood before a massive display screen. Numbers and equations covered every inch. He was thin and tall, with glasses that constantly slipped down his nose. His hair was messy from running his hands through it. He had been awake for 36 hours straight. It should work, he muttered. The theory is sound. The mathematics check out. It has to work. Engineer Yejin looked up from her workstation. She was shorter than Ha-Jun but twice as organized. Tools were arranged perfectly on her desk. Every wire was color-coded. She believed chaos led to mistakes and mistakes led to death. Theory and practice are different things, she said. We need to test it on something real. Colonel Tae Yang entered the laboratory. His military uniform was crisp and perfect. He moved like a soldier, back straight, eyes alert. Behind him came Dr. Subin, the artificial intelligence specialist. She looked tired but excited. We have a test subject, Tai Yang announced. A captured Velcros frigate. Small ship, but it has all their standard systems. The crew has been removed. The ship is in testing chamber 3. Ha-Jun's eyes widened. Already? I thought it would take weeks to secure a vessel. The military has been busy, Tae Yang said simply. Can you be ready by tonight? Yejin stood up. Give us 4 hours. We will need to calibrate the equipment. Subin, I need your help with the targeting algorithms. The team worked quickly. Ha-Jun explained the theory as they prepared. The Velcros Empire had built their entire military around efficiency. Every ship, every weapon, every communication device was connected through quantum entanglement. This allowed them to coordinate perfectly. A fleet of Velcros ships moved as one organism. Their response time was faster than any other species. But this efficiency created a vulnerability. The quantum network had a specific signature. Ha-Jun had discovered how to target it. The Cascade Protocol, as they called it, would send a pulse through the network. The pulse would overload every connected system simultaneously. Ships would lose power. Weapons would shut down. Communications would go silent. The beauty of it, Ha-Jun explained to Taeyang, is that it only affects Velcros technology. Their quantum signature is unique. Other species use different systems. The pulse will pass right through everything else. And you are certain it will not harm the Velcros themselves? Taeyang asked. We are not in the business of genocide. Positive, Subin answered. It affects machines only. The Velcros crew will be fine. Confused and powerless, but alive and healthy. 4 hours later, they gathered in the observation room. Testing Chamber 3 was huge, large enough to hold a small spacecraft. The Velcros frigate sat in the center, held in place by magnetic clamps. Its hull was dark gray with red markings. Even powered down, it looked dangerous. Yejin activated the chamber's systems. Lights came on. Sensors began recording. The frigate's power systems were turned on remotely. The ship hummed to life. Lights appeared on its hull. Engines glowed faintly. Velcro systems are active, Subin reported. Ship is operating at 70% capacity. All quantum signatures are normal. The ship thinks it is in standby mode. Ha-Jun's hand hovered over the activation switch. Beginning test in 3, 2, 1, now. He pressed the switch. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a pulse of energy filled the chamber. It was invisible to the eye but showed clearly on their sensors. The pulse touched the Velcros frigate. The effect was immediate and total. Every light on the ship went dark. The engine glow vanished. The hull's electronic systems died. Within 3 seconds, the frigate was completely dead. It sat in the chamber like a metal corpse. But the chamber's equipment continued working perfectly. The lights stayed on. The sensors kept recording. The magnetic clamps held steady. Only the Velcro ship was affected. Yejin checked her instruments. All Velcro systems are offline. Power cores are intact but cannot activate. The quantum network has been completely disrupted. The ship cannot restart any primary system. Taeyang stared at the dead ship. His expression was difficult to read.
How long until it recovers?
Without external help? Hajun checked his calculations. Approximately 2 weeks. The quantum network needs to rebuild itself. But during those 2 weeks, the ship is completely helpless. Subin was already working on her next analysis. If we scaled this up, if we hit multiple ships simultaneously, the effect would cascade through their entire network. Every connected vessel would shut down at once. Taeyang turned to face them. We can end this war. We can shut down the entire Velcro's fleet, but we need them all in one place. We need them to commit everything to a single battle. Hajun nodded slowly. Then we give them a target they cannot resist. We make them think they can win with one final push. And when they gather their forces and we turn off their lights, Yejin finished. She looked at the dead frigate. All of them, everywhere, at the same moment. The war will be over before they understand what happened. The flagship Domination's Edge was the pride of the Velcro's fleet. It was massive, nearly 2 kilometers long. Weapons covered every surface. Its armor could withstand direct hits from fusion bombs. War Prime Kulthrak stood on its command bridge, surrounded by holographic displays showing the entire war zone. He was still angry from the council meeting. The human admiral's words burned in his mind. That small, weak creature had dared to refuse surrender, had dared to suggest the Velcros would lose. The insult demanded a response. Sub-Commander Velkath approached carefully. He was smaller than Kulthrax, his metal plates less decorated. But his mind was sharp. War Prime, intelligence has new information. The human fleet is gathering near the Arcturus Gate. Kulthrax turned. How many ships? Approximately 300. Perhaps more. They are attempting to hide their numbers, but our sensors have detected significant activity. Intelligence Officer Raxthor pulled up a star map. The Arcturus Gate was a strategic choke point, a narrow passage between star systems. Any fleet passing through would be vulnerable during the transition. They are making a stand, Kulthrax said. His voice was pleased. The humans have gathered their remaining forces. They plan to defend this position. Velkath studied the data more carefully. Something felt wrong. War Prime, I urge caution. This could be a trap. The humans have been unpredictable throughout this war. A trap? Kulthrax laughed. With what? They have 300 ships. We have 8,000. What possible trap could threaten such numbers? Fleet Coordinator Zinkol spoke up from his station. The humans are clever. They have survived longer than we expected. Perhaps we should send a smaller force first. Test their defenses. Kulthrax slammed his fist on the command console. No, we have waited long enough. This war has cost us time and resources. The Council watches and judges us. I will not give the humans more opportunities to embarrass us. We will crush them completely here and now. Velkath tried again. War Prime intelligence also detected unusual quantum signatures near the human fleet. The readings are strange, unlike anything we have seen before. Raxthor projected the sensor data. Strange patterns appeared, waves of energy that did not match any known weapon or shield system. Kulthrax barely glanced at them. Desperation technology. The humans are trying anything they can think of, probably some kind of sensor jammer or communication disruptor. It will be useless against our fleet. I recommend additional analysis, Velkath insisted. We should understand what we face before committing our entire force. The War Prime turned to face his sub-commander directly. His eyes were hard. You question my judgment? You think I do not understand warfare? I have conquered 12 species. I have led the Velcros military for 20 years. These humans are nothing. They are primitives with stolen technology. We will sweep them aside like dust. Velkath lowered his head in submission. To argue further would be insubordination. But he did not feel comfortable. His instincts, honed through countless battles, warned him of danger. Kulthrax returned his attention to the star map. Send orders to all fleet commanders. Every ship, every vessel, every fighter is to converge on the Arcturus Gate. We will assemble the full might of the Velcros Empire. When the humans see our armada, they will understand their mistake. They will see the true meaning of power. Zinkol hesitated before following the order. War Prime gathering the entire fleet in one location is against standard doctrine. It creates a single point of failure. If something goes wrong, nothing will go wrong. Kolthrax roared, "Execute my orders now." The command went out across the quantum network. From every corner of Velcro space, warships received their orders. Some commanders questioned the wisdom of gathering the entire fleet. But orders were orders. Within hours, thousands of ships began moving toward the Arcturus gate. Kolthrax watched the fleet positions update on his displays. Pride swelled in his chest. This would be the decisive battle. The humans would be eliminated. The war would end. His reputation would be secure. The Council would see the superiority of Velcro's military might. Velkath stood at his station, monitoring the fleet movements. He noticed something in the quantum network data. The synchronization between ships was perfect. Too perfect. Every vessel's systems were operating in complete harmony. It was efficient and beautiful, but it also meant every ship was connected. Every system was linked. One network united them all. Velkath felt cold suddenly. He looked at the strange quantum signatures the humans had deployed. He thought about how the humans had survived for 3 years against impossible odds. He remembered the Admiral's confident smile at the council meeting. "War Prime," he said quietly, "I believe we are making a mistake." Kolthrax did not turn around. "Your concern is noted and dismissed. Prepare for battle, Subcommander. In 6 hours we jump to the Arcturus gate. In 7 hours this war ends." Velkath said nothing more. He returned to his duties. But he thought about the humans and their strange confidence. He thought about traps and how the best ones looked like opportunities. And he prepared himself for whatever was coming, knowing his warnings had been ignored. The asteroid field near Arcturus Gate looked empty and dead. Rocks drifted in the darkness, tumbling slowly through space. But hidden among the larger asteroids, the human heavy carrier Indomitable waited. Its hull was painted black. Its systems ran on minimal power. To any passing sensor, it looked like just another piece of space debris. Commander Bora sat at the weapon control station. Her fingers moved across the displays, checking readings for the 100th time. Everything had to be perfect. There would be no second chance. "Velcro's fleet is entering the system," reported Technician Jiwan from the sensor station. "I count 8,347 vessels. They are moving into attack formation." Captain Hyun-woo stood in the center of the bridge. He was young for a carrier captain, barely 35. But his eyes were steady. "All ships accounted for?" "Confirmed," Jiwon answered. "The entire Velcros armada is here. They brought everything." Bora allowed herself a small smile, just as we planned. They could not resist the bait. Through the viewport, they could see the human decoy fleet, old ships, outdated vessels that should have been scrapped years ago. Each one had a small crew, just enough to operate basic systems. They looked like humanity's last desperate defense. In reality, they were bait, nothing more. The Velcros armada was magnificent and terrifying. Thousands of warships filled the space around the gate. Their weapons glowed with ready power. Their engines burned bright. The sheer size of the fleet would have broken the spirit of any normal enemy. A communication came through from Admiral Daewon. His face appeared on the main screen. He was aboard the command ship, safely distant from the battle zone. "Commander Bora, you are authorized to proceed." "On your mark." Bora took a deep breath. 3 years of war came down to this moment. Millions had died. Colonies had burned. Families had been destroyed. And now, in the next few minutes, it would all end. "Cascade protocol charging," she announced. "All systems green. Target lock established on the quantum network." Hyun-woo checked with each station. "Engineering?" "Power at maximum. Capacitors fully charged. Sensors? All targets confirmed. Network signature locked. Medical? Standing by for casualties from the decoy fleet." Hyun-woo nodded. "Commander Bora, the ship is yours. Fire when ready." Bora placed her hand on the activation control. Beginning countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 firing. She pressed the control. The Cascade protocol activated. Deep in the Indomitable's core, quantum generators created a specific pulse of energy. It spread outward at the speed of light, invisible and unstoppable. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The Velcros fleet continued its advance. Weapons charged, ships moved into position. Then the pulse reached the first Velcros vessel. The effect was instant. The ship's quantum network detected the pulse and tried to compensate. But the pulse was designed to exploit a fundamental weakness in their system. The network overloaded, power cores shut down, Systems crashed. In less than a second, the ship went dark. But that was just the beginning. The pulse cascaded through the quantum network. Every Velcro ship was connected. What happened to one happened to all. Like dominoes falling, vessel after vessel lost power. 1 minute, Bora counted. 200 ships offline. 500. 1,000. Ji-won watched the sensor readings with amazement. The cascade is spreading faster than predicted. It is jumping through their entire network. Not just ships here, but outposts in neighboring systems are going dark. 2 minutes, Bora continued. 3,000 ships offline. 4,000. The flagship is going dark. Through the viewport, they watched the Velcros armada die. Lights flickered and went out. Engines stopped burning. Weapons powered down. Thousands of massive warships became nothing more than metal shells drifting in space. 3 minutes. 6,000 offline. 7,000. Hyun-woo felt a chill run down his spine. In all his years of military service, he had never seen anything like this. An entire fleet, the most powerful armada ever assembled, rendered helpless in minutes. No shots fired. No missiles launched. Just silence spreading across the battlefield. 4 minutes. All primary targets offline. Cascade is reaching secondary installations. 5 minutes, Bora announced. Her voice was quiet. All Velcros military systems are offline. The cascade is complete. Total success. The bridge was silent. The crew stared at their displays, at the thousands of dead ships floating before them. They had expected it to work. But seeing it was different. The entire Velcros war machine shut down in 5 minutes. Admiral Daewon's voice came through the speakers. Excellent work, Indomitable. Now let us offer them terms. Captain Hyun-woo, open a channel to the Velcros flagship. Hyun-woo activated the emergency channel. His voice was calm and professional. Velcros fleet, this is Captain Hyun-woo of the Human Defense Force. Your weapons are disabled. Your fleet is offline. We are prepared to discuss your surrender. No further harm will come to your crews. The war is over. News of the Arcturus incident spread across the galaxy within hours. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Species from every corner of known space sent representatives. The chamber filled quickly. Fear and confusion were visible on every alien face. Council Speaker Thexval tried to maintain order, but voices overlapped and arguments erupted. Some species demanded explanations. Others called for immediate action against humanity. A few praised the humans for their victory. The chamber was chaos. Ambassador Haewon sat calmly in the human section. She was older than Admiral Daewon, with silver hair and a diplomatic smile that never quite reached her eyes. She had been a negotiator for 40 years. She had seen panic before. She waited for the right moment to speak. Senator Kryzan of the Hexian Collective was the first to address her directly. His species looked like walking crystals, beautiful but sharp. His voice cut through the noise. Ambassador Haewon, the Council demands answers. What weapon did humanity use? How many species are vulnerable to it? The chamber went quiet. Every alien eye turned to the human ambassador. Haewon stood slowly. She took her time, letting the silence build. When she spoke, her voice was clear and steady. The weapon is called the Cascade Protocol. It targets a specific quantum signature unique to Velcros technology. No other species in this chamber uses the same system. You are not at risk. Military analyst Threndok, a being made of semi-solid gel, spoke up. But the principle could be adapted. You have proven that quantum networks can be weaponized. Every species that uses such technology is now vulnerable. Haewon nodded. That is true. But we did not invent quantum networks. We did not create the vulnerability. We simply recognized it and used it to defend ourselves. Should we have allowed the Velcros to destroy us instead? A representative from the Tyros Union stood. You could have warned us. You could have shared this knowledge with the Council before using it. And if we had? Haewon asked calmly. Would you have helped us develop it? Or would you have demanded we destroy it? Would the Velcros have learned about it and adapted their defenses? We were at war. We made the decision that gave our species the best chance of survival. Thexval raised his hands for quiet. Ambassador, the Council understands you were defending your people. But now we must consider the implications. Humanity has demonstrated military capability far beyond what anyone predicted. The galaxy must know your intentions. Senator Kryzan stood again. His crystal body reflected the chamber lights harshly. Let me be direct. You possess the ability to shut down entire fleets. You could do to any of us what you did to the Velcros. We are at your mercy. What do you intend to do with this power? The question hung in the air. This was what every species wanted to know. Were humans conquerors? Would they use their weapon to dominate the galaxy? Or were they truly just defending themselves? HFY met Krizan's gaze without flinching. Senator, 3 years ago the Velcros attacked our colonies without warning. We asked this council for help. We were told to surrender. We were told we could not win. We were offered sympathy and nothing more. She let that sink in before continuing. While you debated, our people died. Our cities burned. Our children became refugees. We did not ask for this war. We did not want it. But when it came, we found a way to end it with minimal loss of life. That does not answer my question, Krizan said. What do you want now? HFY's diplomatic smile faded. Her voice became harder, more direct. We want what we have always wanted. To be left alone. To live in peace. To trade fairly with our neighbors. To raise our families without fear of invasion. Is that too much to ask? But if threatened again? Threndok asked. If threatened again, we will defend ourselves, decisively, as we have demonstrated. HFY looked around the chamber, meeting as many eyes as possible. Let me be absolutely clear. We could have used this weapon at any time during the war. We could have destroyed the Velcros fleet in the first month. We chose not to. Why? Asked a small delegate from the Mirren species. Because we wanted to give peace a chance. Because we hoped the Velcros would realize the war was pointless and negotiate. Because we did not want to reveal our capabilities unless absolutely necessary. We waited 3 years. We gave them every opportunity to stop. They chose to escalate. They chose to commit their entire fleet to one final attack. We ended the war with 0 casualties on both sides. How many lives did we save by waiting for the right moment? The chamber was silent. No one had an answer to that. The mathematics were clear. If humans had used their weapon earlier, the war would have ended sooner. But they had shown restraint. They had waited until they could achieve total victory without bloodshed. Thexval spoke carefully. Ambassador, the Council appreciates your explanation. But you must understand our position. We are responsible for maintaining peace and stability in this galaxy. A weapon like yours could destabilize everything. HFY nodded. Then I suggest the Council focus on preventing wars rather than limiting the weapons used to win them. We did not start this conflict. We finished it. If the galaxy wants peace, perhaps it should support defensive species instead of telling them to surrender. She sat down. The message was clear. Humanity would not apologize for winning. They would not give up their weapons. They would not be victims again. The galaxy could accept that or not. Either way, humans would defend themselves. As the session ended, species divided into groups. Some saw humanity as a threat. Others saw them as valuable allies. A few simply feared them. But everyone agreed on one thing. The galaxy had changed. The small species that nobody expected to survive had become a power that could not be ignored. 2 weeks after the war ended, Research Station Harmony was quiet. Too quiet. The scientists who had worked day and night for 6 months now moved through the halls like ghosts. Their great achievement was complete, but completion brought questions none of them wanted to answer. Dr. Hajun sat in his laboratory staring at the empty screens. The quantum calculations that had consumed his life were gone, erased. Years of work deleted in seconds. He knew it was necessary, but it still hurt. Engineer Yejin entered the lab carrying 2 cups of coffee. She set one in front of Hajun without speaking. They sat together in silence, drinking the bitter liquid and thinking about what they had done. 12 species have contacted me, Hajun said finally. Offers of money. Research positions. Some threaten, some beg. All want the same thing. They want the Cascade Protocol. Yejin was not surprised. I have had similar messages. One offered me a moon. An entire moon. Just for the targeting algorithms. Did you consider it? Hajun asked with a weak smile. For about 5 seconds. Then I remembered what we built this weapon for. Defense. Not profit. Not power. Just survival. Dr. Subin joined them, looking exhausted. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. The cyber attacks are getting worse. Last night someone tried to breach the quantum core storage. They almost succeeded. Our security team stopped them, but it was close. Heijun rubbed his face. How many attempts this week? 47. From at least 20 different sources. Some are probably the same organization using different methods. They are determined. The door opened. Admiral Daewon walked in. followed by 2 military security officers. His expression was serious. "Good morning, doctors. I wish this was a social visit, but we both know why I am here." Hajun stood. "You are shutting down the project. Effective immediately. Research Station Harmony will be decommissioned. All data related to the Cascade Protocol will be destroyed. The team will be scattered to different assignments across human space. You will not work together again." Yejin felt her chest tighten. They had become family during the project. Now they would be separated. For how long? Daewon's voice was gentle but firm. "Permanently. I am sorry, but the knowledge you possess is too dangerous. If the team stays together, someone will eventually succeed in stealing the technology. By separating you, we make it nearly impossible to reconstruct." Subin spoke quietly. "We saved humanity, and our reward is exile from each other." "Your reward," Daewon said, "is that humanity survives. Your families are safe. Your species has a future. That was always the goal, was it not?" Hajun nodded slowly. "It was. But now the galaxy fears us. We ended a war and became something worse than the enemy. We became the thing that scares everyone." Daewon pulled up a chair and sat with them. His formal manner softened slightly. "Let me tell you something about fear. The Velcros did not fear us. They thought we were weak, easy prey. That is why they attacked. Now they know better, and so does everyone else. But at what cost?" Yejin asked. "We can never have true allies now. Everyone will wonder if we might do to them what we did to the Velcros. Some will think that, yes. Others will recognize that we showed restraint. We had this weapon for months. We could have used it at any time. We chose to wait. We chose the moment that would cause the least harm. That says something about humanity." Subin was not convinced. Does it? Or did we simply wait for the most strategic moment? How do other species know we were being merciful and not just tactical? Daewon did not have a good answer for that. He was quiet for a moment. "You are right to question. These are questions our species will struggle with for generations. But consider this. The Velcros fleet surrendered without a single death. 8,000 warships, hundreds of thousands of crew members. All alive. All unharmed. Yes, they are prisoners. Yes, they are defeated. But they are alive to see their families again." Hajun thought about that. He thought about the projections from before the war ended. If the fighting had continued, millions would have died. The Cascade Protocol had prevented that. But it had also changed humanity forever. "What happens to the weapon?" Yejin asked. "Is it destroyed completely?" Daewon's expression became unreadable. "That information is classified at the highest level. Even I do not know the full details. What I can tell you is this: the weapon will never be used casually. If it exists, if any version of it remains, it will be held in reserve. A last resort. A deterrent. So we become the galaxy's nuclear threat," Subin said bitterly. "The weapon everyone knows exists but hopes never to see again." "Better than being the galaxy's victim," Daewon replied. He stood. "I know this is difficult. You did not sign up for the moral weight of changing warfare forever. But you did it anyway. You saved us. Now we must save you from becoming targets." The team gathered their personal belongings. They said goodbye in the laboratory where they had achieved the impossible. Hajun shook hands with Yejin, then Subin. Words felt inadequate. They had shared something profound. Now they would carry it separately, scattered across human space, never to work together again. As they left the station for the last time, Hajun looked back at the asteroid field. Research Station Harmony would be dismantled. The laboratory would be destroyed. Their work would become legend and rumor, but somewhere in his mind the equations remained. He could never forget them. None of them could. They would carry the knowledge forever, the burden of what they had created and what it had cost. 1 year after the war ended, the Galactic Council looked different. The chamber had been reorganized. New seats had been added. Humanity now had a permanent position, right in the center section usually reserved for the most influential species. Counselor Daewon, former admiral, now wore diplomatic robes instead of a military uniform, but his eyes still carried the same sharp intelligence. He sat quietly during most sessions, listening carefully, speaking only when necessary. Other species had learned to pay attention when he did speak. The Velcros Empire no longer existed. In its place, dozens of smaller nations had formed. Some were peaceful trading partners. Others struggled with their new reality. But none of them had military fleets anymore. The Council had seen to that. War Prime Kulthrax was now Ambassador Kulthrax. His transformation from warrior to diplomat had been difficult but necessary. Today's council session was ending. Representatives from 30 species were discussing trade regulations. It was boring but important work. The kind of work that prevented wars. Day one approved. Boring was good. Boring meant peace. As the session concluded, Kulthrax approached the human section. Other species watched with interest. Relations between humans and Velcros were still complicated, but they were working. Counselor Day-Wan, might I have a moment of your time? Kulthrax asked. His voice was respectful. The arrogance from a year ago was gone. Of course, Ambassador. Please walk with me. They left the main chamber and entered one of the private meeting rooms. These rooms were used for sensitive discussions. The walls blocked all signals. No one could listen in. Kulthrax sat heavily. A year ago, he had commanded the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Now he negotiated mining rights and shipping routes. The change had aged him. I wanted to discuss the joint initiative we proposed last month. The early warning system for quantum weapons. Day-Wan nodded. Your engineers have done excellent work. The detection network is almost ready for deployment. Once it is active, no species will be able to develop quantum weapons in secret. That was the goal, to make sure no one else can do to others what you did to us. Kulthrax said it without bitterness, just stating a fact, and to protect all species, including humans, from similar attacks, Day-Wan added. This system benefits everyone. Kulthrax was quiet for a moment. Then he asked the question he had been holding for months. Does humanity still have the Cascade Protocol? Day-Wan had expected this question eventually. Every species wanted to know, but few had the courage to ask directly. That information is classified at the highest level of human government. I cannot answer. Cannot or will not. Both. I genuinely do not know the complete answer. And if I did, I would not be authorized to share it. Kulthrax nodded slowly. I understand. But let me ask you something else then. Do you believe humanity would use such a weapon again? Day-One considered carefully before answering. That depends entirely on the circumstances. Would we use it to conquer? No. Would we use it to expand our territory? No. Would we use it if another species attacked us the way you did? Yes, without hesitation. So deterrence. Exactly. We would rather never use such a weapon again. But the galaxy must understand that humanity will defend itself. We tried peace. We tried negotiation. We were ignored until we demonstrated strength. That lesson was expensive. We will not forget it. Kulthrax looked at the human counselor with something like respect. My species thought you were weak. We thought your small numbers and limited technology made you easy prey. We were catastrophically wrong. You were not entirely wrong, Day-One admitted. We were vulnerable. We did have fewer ships and weaker weapons, but you made a mistake that many species make. You assumed that military strength was only about numbers and firepower. You forgot about intelligence, creativity, and desperation. Desperation is a powerful motivator. It is. When a species faces extinction, it finds solutions that would never occur to them in peacetime. We found ours, we used it. And now we must live with the consequences, which are, some species fear us, some respect us, some want to be our allies, some want to destroy us before we become too powerful. The galaxy is more complicated now, but at least humanity has a seat at the table. We are no longer ignored. Kulthrax stood to leave. Thank you for your honesty, Counselor. I hope our species can continue to work together. We learned a hard lesson. Perhaps together we can help others avoid learning it the same way. That is my hope as well, Ambassador. After Kulthrax left, Day-Wan remained in the meeting room. He thought about the past year, about the war that ended in 5 minutes, about the scientists who had sacrificed everything to save their species, about the future that humanity now faced. Commander Bora entered quietly. She now headed human security across all diplomatic stations. Counselor, your next appointment is in 10 minutes. Thank you, Commander. Tell me, do you ever think about that day at Arcturus? About pressing the button that changed everything? Bora smiled slightly. Every day. Sometimes I wonder if we did the right thing. Then I remember the alternative. We could have fought for years. Millions would have died. Instead, we ended it quickly and cleanly. Yes, we scared the galaxy, but we also saved it from a long, bloody war. Do you think the Cascade Protocol still exists? I think it does not matter. Whether it exists or not, the galaxy believes it might exist. That belief is almost as powerful as the weapon itself. Day One stood and walked to the window. Outside, ships from dozens of species docked at the diplomatic station. Trade vessels, scientific expeditions, cultural exchanges. A year ago, none of this would have been possible. War had consumed everything. Now there was peace. Uneasy peace perhaps, but peace nonetheless. Come, he said to Bora, we have work to do. The galaxy does not govern itself. And humanity has responsibilities now. We earned respect through strength. Now we must earn trust through wisdom. That might take longer than 5 minutes, but it is just as important.